All right, we're recording.
We are. We're recording.
Hey.
Because that's what we do is we record these episodes.
Yeah.
So people know that we're real.
I'm not.
And they're saved for prosperity.
Posterity.
Posterity.
Yeah.
Crosterity.
Mm-hmm.
Prosperity.
Yeah.
Saved for prosperity.
Posterity.
Posterous.
Okay, well, it's been fun talking to you all. Goodbye.
So, this is our taco podcast. The last one of 2022. What do you want to talk about? Anything on your mind?
Yeah, no. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.
Again, ending it before it even starts. Just screw this. All right. No ideas at all?
So.
Tell me the idea before you just start talking about it.
No.
Okay. How am I supposed to follow along then? Or know what what mindset to put myself in? I mean, if you start talking about, tampons or something like that, I won't know what you're talking about.
See? And let's talk about that for a moment. Gentlemen, you should be aware of vagina maintenance.
I mean, I know what they are. I mean, I wouldn't know the difference between any of them.
Okay. I was going to go into the thing about how the gentleman should be aware of the things pertaining to the... I know about prostate exams and how frequently one should be done. Yeah. How to check for...
Jokingly or seriously?
Yeah, seriously. And how to check for testicular cancer because I care about you.
Isn't it tickle, tickle, poke?
That's not. It's not tickle,
that's
tickle,
just your joke.
poke. That's a joke.
That's your joke. Huh? Well, all right. I mean, I don't even know the answer to that.
No, testicular cancer?
No,
okay, so
the rest of it, the prostate exam and all that. Like, ain't you supposed to do it at the age of 50?
Mm.
Like to have the first one?
Yep.
I may have missed that one.
Yeah, you did. Don't worry.
I missed the one you're supposed to. I guess to have done at 50. Oh, you're gonna call and set it up for me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right, then I'll set you up for a mammogram.
Dude thinks he's funny.
I do. I'm actually hilarious. You can catch me at the.
No joke though. My insurance company, shortly after I had the mastectomy, would send me this thing going, "It's time for your mammogram." I'm like, I already had one. Remember? There was like a big thing afterwards. there shouldn't be any titty left. If there is, we should have a conversation with my surgeon. Yeah, it was like 2-3 years. I kept getting these notices. It's time for your mammogram. Stop it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Will still has a prostate, so it doesn't apply to him.
All right.
So we're going to do, after all of that, we're going to do just like a brief recap, mainly because it's still kind of chilly and I want to be ensconced in the warmth.
It's not bad in here.
It's not bad for him. It's bad for me. I've got like a narrow temperature range of like 3 degrees that I'm comfortable in, and anything outside of that is awful.
Really? I know you like it a lot warmer than I do. I mean, it feels like you're, at night you're trying to kill me by, turning the heat up so high. But
yeah, but then as soon as it gets
warmer
than I like, all of a sudden I'm just dying. So yeah, 3 degrees.
I thought you were doing that because you just wanted to see me strip.
No, it's just
Boom.
3 degree temperature range.
Dance for me, baby. Shake your money maker in your sleep.
And then, I was going to say, wouldn't that just be like jiggling your camera? Shake your money maker, and then the camera just... I got jokes. I got 100.
Wait a minute, you said I'm not funny. Jokes. I have to tell you, you're not funny.
I'm funny.
Oh, you're funny?
I'm fucking hilarious.
That's exactly what I said. I'm funny too.
Well, yes, you are.
Yes, whatever, honey. You're funny. You're funny.
Got 100 million billion jokes.
Do you?
Our son does this thing now. He plays this game he calls Mr. Jokes, where you're supposed to be like, "Hello, Mr. Jokes. Are you ready to meet your doom?" and then you do like this big evil laugh, and then he says no because he has jokes, and you ask him how many jokes he has, and he comes up with this huge number of jokes.
It started off as a small number, but now it's like in the hundreds and hundreds of billions of jokes.
Yeah, trillions.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, all right, I guess I'll get you after you told your 100 billionth joke.
Yeah,
I'll wait.
You gotta wait till he's done with all of his jokes.
Yeah. So it won't let you eat his belly or tickle him or.
Yeah.
No.
He's gotta tell all of his jokes first.
Yeah. So, all right. So brief recap. Oops. I meant a brief recap. A brief recap of 2022.
So I was unemployed at the start of 2022.
Yay.
As you all know, I had left my job to take care of William, who was having some increasing issues adjusting to the super erratic schedule of my previous position. I started a position doing a research on a research project that lost their funding. And then I started working out at the area. We've discussed that before, doing vapor monitoring.
Whoa!
What?
Right.
But now I'm going to stand up tall.
See, now it looks like we actually know what we're doing because, well, there's not like 8 feet of blank space above our heads.
Do we have to start all over?
No.
Okay, good.
Just keep on going.
Yeah. So
No, I'm not even going to edit this. I'm just going to put it out just like this.
As you should.
It's our real lives, right? I mean, isn't that what this channel's all about?
Yeah.
It's our life from our perspective. Being, a struggling middle class family.
Although
because the middle class
a little bit of editing is always good.
Nah,
because if like I'm
just
in the
makes
middle
her
of
look
talking
better.
and all of a sudden I'm like, giant, burp or something like that, like cut that out.
Nah,
Leave that out.
we're real. We're
They
real.
don't need to see that.
People want to see that.
Real people go potty too, but they don't need to see that.
Should I cut that out? I've already got that footage. I was going to insert it at the end. Me
Anyway.
Busting in the bathroom door. You thinking you're going to get privacy anywhere in the house?
Yeah. The minute you have a child, you will never have privacy ever again. Even from the people that you think would understand the need for privacy.
He's not here.
Seriously, the whole family just comes walking in. All the kids, the husband. I'm like, this is not. What are you guys doing? This is not an Oscar-winning performance. I don't require an audience. Why are you all here?
Take a bow. Take a bow.
Like, huh.
So would it make a difference if I came in and throw roses at you?
So anyways, then started working out at the area. Doing the vapor monitoring. Mm-hmm.
She did.
Yeah. Loving that position, by the way. A huge fan of the safety culture. It's a big, the job itself has been a mindset adjustment from the previous positions I've been in, but a very positive one. And so far, I'm really loving the culture of where I'm working. The job itself is interesting and new.
Go ahead. I'm just reading your coffee cup.
Did I show you this?
The bottom of her coffee cup. It's nice. I just noticed that. It's like, Viva La Dirt League. YouTubers. That, New Zealand, right?
Yeah, New Zealand.
They're from New Zealand. That tiny little island down under.
We're an egg-shaped ball just hurling through space.
Down under.
Distance and direction is relative. What is up?
Anyway, so you now you're back to work. You enjoy the safety culture and everything else. The people you work with.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for all kinds of, not necessarily advancement, but all kinds of career enhancement, different kind of learning things. You're looking at the team lead for the stretch and getting my coworkers ready in the morning by doing some simple stretches, getting them all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I pick up my coffee cup and I do this in the morning.
This guy right here.
What? I don't have much time for anything else. That's what I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to exercise.
I do have to get up really early in the morning, but this
I know.
position has
I know.
been...
No, for the longest time, for 24 years of of our marriage, you never got up early in the morning at all. You're just not a morning person.
Yeah. Well, and I worked swing shift and graveyard shift for so long. Working an early morning shift is definitely a transition for me. But the job has also been really good for Taco. It's the same set hours every week. There's no change. So it's really been good for him because it's a steady routine that is unchanging, and that has been.
He thrives on consistency.
Yeah.
And what he knows is going to happen when it's going to happen.
So this position has honestly, it's been a boon for the whole family.
Well, I like the idea that you're getting paid now.
I do enjoy getting paid.
I like that. I like that. I like that pay thing because it makes it a lot easier to keep all of the stuff that we've accumulated.
What's the joke? Why did you want to apply for this position? I've always been a big fan of food.
Yeah.
And
food,
electricity.
Food is good.
I've always been a big fan of being able to pay my bills.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, having food is always a plus. Being able to pay our bills is a plus, and not going broke and losing all of this stuff that we've collected.
I actually saw a really interesting comic strip the other day, and it was the same thing. It was like, well, why are you interested in working here? And the guy goes, no. Why are you interested in hiring people? What's going on? What do I know about? Why are people leaving? Speaking of, I've managed to successfully poach one of my previous coworkers. Not necessarily.
I wouldn't talk about that too much in case somebody is watching. Well, I'm just saying.
The poaching already happened.
Yeah, but you're admitting that you poached an employee from your previous employer to your new employer.
I'm not management, so I can't get in trouble for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you look at it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well,
hey, hold up. And this is
I don't
important.
know.
Loyalty to your previous coworkers. I don't know how that goes for all of you guys, but for me, I made friends at my previous jobs. Though I edit that out. So he's edited out the name of the place where I used to work.
I did.
I worked at a previous position for just under 2 decades, and made friends with a lot of the people there. The position I'm at now, I believe, would benefit from their expertise, and also they would benefit from the increased opportunity at this place. And so because I have loyalty to my friends that I'd made in my previous positions, whenever a position comes open that I think that they would fit and that they would bring value to my new employer, I send them the links.
And double the pay has nothing to do with it.
The gals I used to work with deserve double the pay.
I mean, that kind of is a motivator. It's like, would you rather be there where they don't value you, or would you rather go someplace else that does value you and pays you twice as much?
Well, and I think for some of the gals, it's not really so much that the company doesn't value them. It's that what we used to do, there wasn't a lot of upward mobility job-wise. And myself...
There wasn't even one laterally. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
you had worked yourself into a position where they basically told you, you're stuck, and we're not going to pay you anymore. We're going to give you cost of living increases, and that's it.
Yeah, the cost of living increases did not cover the cost of living increase.
They never do.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in where we live, where inflation is pretty much tied to the government, inflation rate. I mean, we think a lot of things, have really dramatic swings. I mean, we love where we live. It's a safe, good environment and place to raise your children. But I mean, as the inflation, spikes, you will see things change drastically overnight. A house that cost $90,000 on Friday could cost $275 on Tuesday.
It's not quite that dramatic,
but it is.
You get the idea.
I mean,
it just trying to.
And then, a year down the road, it could be worth $90,000 again.
Yeah. So
I mean, we never know. we have hundreds and hundreds of people who constantly are in ebb and flow, from the area. One contract ends, the entire divisions of people are gone. Scientists, engineers, support staff, they're all gone, and then massive amounts of housing becomes available, and then the prices drop because there's so much housing available. Then a new contractor comes in, is building something else for the government, and boom, now the prices skyrocket because there's not enough of it. It's impossible to keep up with. But I've constantly, especially in this area, feel really bad for the single parent who's just trying to make a go of it and survive in this world.
Yeah,
because
housing costs
it's impossible.
Here it's out of control. We have a friend of ours who's currently looking for a place to live, and on an educator's salary, they can't find any place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I'm not talking about just I want to be clear. I wasn't talking about someone who's just making a minimum wage. Or your friend is a school teacher and cannot make a go of it by themselves in this environment that we live in.
Yeah, there's just no place for him to live.
And we're talking about literally no place at all. A mobile home, no, you can't move into a mobile home. You can't move into an apartment. I mean, just not down the street. We got duplexes that are going for what I would say 5 times what we were paying for rent when we moved into our first house.
Yeah, that's about accurate.
I mean, how do you start off in this world? As a young 20-something, adult or whatever, or older, as in your friend's case, but they're priced out of the market.
We're gonna segue here in just a second into Will's end of the year recap, but I would like to touch on that before we do so. Those of you who have kids at home, this is part of the reason why I advocate don't set your kids loose at 18. There was a point in time where that was perfect. The kids had ideally graduated or would be graduating soon afterwards. Their jobs were plentiful, and a kid at 18 could go out and make a life for themselves. Nowadays they just can't. That mindset, we're past that. In this economy, keep your kids at home if you can. If you're able to, let them, because they're going to be much worse off than we were when we were that age.
Well, I mean, when we first started, dating, we moved into our first house. I mean, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I mean, I remember quite a few times just sitting down and looking at the finances and going, how do I make it to the next paycheck? I mean, having enough left over to make it to the next paycheck would have been, a godsend. I mean, we had no one really except for your mother who, offered, for doing babysitting, and stuff like that. But I mean, if you had to even pay for that, there was no way we would have made it even to through the month. But, and then, slowly through education, everything else, when we got better jobs and everything else, I mean, it got better for us. But I mean, that's not available to everyone out there. And I know a lot of kids who, those who, and I call them kids because they're in their 20s, but that's just me because I'm an old curmudgeon. But they live in their parents' basements, or they had to move back after college into their old, bedrooms in the home.
Well, and when we started out, I could afford to put myself through college on my minimum wage salary. I mean, yeah, stuff was hard for us, and I wasn't, didn't make enough to pay full time, but I could pick up a class or two each semester. Quarter. It was the college I was going to at the time was quarters. I could pay for a class or two each quarter. Nowadays, the cost
you can't do that.
There's, I know that a lot of times as adults we have a tendency of thinking back to our age. We think about how old, when we think of our children. Okay, what was it like when I was that age? And that world doesn't exist anymore. So anyways, just, keeping that in mind. And now we're going to
transition back to recap. All right, so looking back on the year as well, we start first. You had unemployment, yay, and then you got a job, yay. Now you got money, yay. what else in 2022 would you say has been a positive or growth that you for yourself or for the family? Do you see anything that that you would hope to build on?
Let's see what 2022 brought so much interesting stuff. Our youngest son, his verbal
We only have one, so
his verbal communication has come leaps and bounds.
Still got a long ways to go, but he has come very far.
Yeah, and the biggest thing at this point is his verbal communication is sometimes difficult to understand. So he's an amazing reader and an excellent speller. He has taken, I think we might have discussed this a while back, he would spell stuff for us now. And now he just does. If he assumes that his parents aren't going to understand what he's saying, he'll just spell it out. Sometimes he'll write it out.
It's so cute how he does it.
Yeah. We met...
BOOK. Now.
We met our daughter's boyfriend and his father over Thanksgiving. They joined us. That was an amazing visit. I had a lot of anxiety leading up to the visit. I was convinced that I was going to say something and just like inadvertently offend his entire family and then just destroy my daughter's relationship.
And yet they were all worried about me.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a really good visit.
Like, he's going to put his foot in his mouth. It's going to be him. He's going to destroy everything. And I'm like, what? Not me. I'm I'm an angel.
I really enjoyed their visit. An amazing young man. I think he's going to go really far in life. And his father was great company. We, like I said, I was really worried. And yeah, no, it went really, really well. It was an interesting, they're Muslim, and they shared some of their culture with us. We went to an Islamic service. We got to observe that. And it was really warm and welcoming. And I really enjoyed our Thanksgiving. Let's see, what else went on this year? Well, I'm kind of focusing around the end of the year, the holidays, because it's recent. You know, so Christmas was just a little bit ago.
Crystal worked in the medical field and did everything she could to avoid getting COVID.
Oh, my goodness. I worked in a COVID laboratory. And then, I was unemployed for a little while. Then I worked, the study that I joined was a COVID surveillance study. Like we went to the homes of COVID patients. Well, not they weren't all. I was in the face of a lot of people that had COVID as part of this job. I dodged COVID like a freaking ninja. I was like, no, you're not getting any spikes on me. Nope. I took this new job, the one that I'm loving right now. What was it, like 2 months in, 3 months in? I get COVID because some guy came to work sick on the back of my head.
Yeah.
I was like, meh, with COVID patients and didn't get it. And some guy's like, have some viruses just like all over my hair. And then I was sick. Ugh, very frustrated by that. Very frustrated by that.
Well, you got all your shots and you did everything to protect yourself. And then someone coughs on you and here's some COVID for you.
Right? Like 8 hours with some dude, hurking on the back of your head, you're bound to get some viruses in your eyeballs.
In your eyeballs? Wow. How did you get it from the back of your head in your eye? Touch your head and then your eye?
Actually, I'm
just curious. I mean,
I don't
know how that happened.
As I lay on the bed convalescing through my illness, I imagined it as like these waves of putrescence that like hit the back of my head and then like wrapped around.
You think they all like ran around?
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe it was in the air.
I was plotting revenge.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, this guy got me sick.
Weaponize it against him?
I knew exactly who it was who got me sick too. I was like, some shit.
Is he still there?
Yeah, no, he got fired. Not because of me. Not because of me. Not because He got me sick. Actually, there was an incident at
Okay,
work.
well, we don't need to get into it, but so, but he's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's not there.
See, in 2022, I mean, so besides that, our son has made some leaps and bounds, like you'd said, in his speech. Still has a long ways to go, but he's getting towards making strides towards where he needs to be. I mean, he's never going to be normal because hell, who the hell's normal anymore?
Normal is overrated.
What is normal? I mean, I look at the kids that that are rambunctious right now, and I was actually reading on a family blog about children, particularly boys, who are hyperactive, that they have now again started to shove drugs down to calm them down because they're being too hyperactive. Wait a minute, you're 6 years old and you're bouncing off the wall with, and you can't keep your attention span in one area. What we need is some ADD drugs for you or whatever.
Well,
they're medicating them
now,
again.
to be fair, medication can definitely help improve the quality of life for some people who have ADD.
I need ADD or whatever the hell it is. I need that energy. Where do I get that? I've been downing Red Bulls and rock stars for years to try to, stay, somewhere ahead of the, where I was before. And it's not helping. I need some of that.
An interesting topic. For a lot of people, ADD isn't hyperactivity. ADD is what we refer to as executive dysfunction, and it's an impairment.
Well, I'm executively dysfunction. Look at the table over there.
It's an impairment in our ability to utilize executive function. What's a good example? Say you've got 3 tasks that you have to complete, right? You have to send an email, you have to make a phone call, and you have to go grocery shopping. Okay, executive dysfunction would be similar to being unable to do any of those tasks, being easily distracted from those tasks. You're in the process of sending the email and then something catches your eye and you're like, oh, I got to take care of that. And you go take care of that. And then while you're doing that, something else catches your eye and then, oh, I got to take care of that.
Do you have ADD?
Absolutely.
Because I call it raccoon. It's what I call it. She'll be doing something and then something shiny will catch her attention and she's like, something shiny. And then she's over doing that or looking at that or paying attention to that instead of what she was doing before. I've just always called it raccoon.
Something
so maybe we should get you some drugs.
Something that...
drug her up.
He jokes, but something that you might notice with a lot of people who have ADD are self-medicating with caffeine. Because in a lot of people that have ADD, caffeine has a bit of an opposite effect on us as it does on neurotypical people. Caffeine is less of a stimulant for people with ADD and allows them to focus more.
I take in massive amounts of caffeine.
Gosh, I wonder why that is.
But without it, I can still accomplish, making a phone call.
I'm all trying to make a joke and I spill coffee down my face.
That's all right. It's all over you too. But I mean, I can do the grocery shop and send an email and make a phone call. I can do all that stuff. I just wish to do it faster. Mm-hmm. And I find if I drink 3 pots of coffee a day, and in between each pot of coffee, down 4 or 5 Red Bulls, I find that it helps me focus a lot more.
Gosh, it's weird. It's like almost like I was saying.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
See, we're learning new things about each other right now as we do this video. I have attention deficit disorder.
Oh, baby, we all knew.
Oh, did you? But nobody told me. Hey, there's something seriously wrong with you. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, we knew that.
Let's take that stigma away. There's nothing wrong with people who have ADD or ADHD.
No.
There's
I might be poking jokes and making fun of it, but I'm absolutely serious. What she's saying, I agree
yeah,
with.
and for a lot of people, these mental processes that we have that make life difficult in today's society were helpful for us as a species earlier in our development as a species. One of the hypotheses about anxiety these days is that essentially when we were earlier on, before we had developed essentially larger cities, larger protections, groups, stuff like that, when we were more hunter-gatherer species, you had to be not necessarily hyper vigilant, but more vigilant because of predation and prey and stuff like that. And so one of the hypotheses that I gravitate towards about anxiety is that essentially your brain has been wired during human development to know that there's some shit out there that you need to pay attention to. But in today's society, we're safe from predation. So your brain,
for the most part,
yeah, your brain,
unless you're on my other channel.
Also true. But the human brain knows that we're supposed to be looking out for something, but the stuff that it would typically be looking out for isn't there, so it just makes you fucking anxious because your brain is like, okay, some shit's happening. I don't know what yet, but some shit is happening. And so then you're just like, oh shit, some shit's happening. Nothing's happening. But it's just the human brain as it developed. Things like ADD and stuff like that, things like autism, we've discussed before. I think of autism as something like sickle cell, right?
Sickle cell anemia?
Sickle cell anemia. The sickle cell trait is a good thing. It's beneficial to people who have sickle cell trait. It prevents, it's an adaptation that prevents infection from the malaria parasite in areas where that's endemic, right? Sickle cell anemia is a bad thing. It's too much of that, right? But I consider autism a developmental advantage.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't see it as a disability either. I see our son and everyone who has, is on the spectrum of autism. I see it as their evolutionary superior.
Yeah.
And I don't call it, I don't say it is a disease. I don't call it a disorder. It's a spectrum of awesomeness.
See? And like sickle cell, there are people who have a beneficial form, and there are people who have a form that has become harmful. There are some people who have autism who are unable to function, who have a form of autism, and I think they get left out of the conversation a lot of times. We forget sometimes that autistic kids aren't adorable little wonders with music and film who make these long videos for us to watch when it's our son. He makes these...
I'm like you're describing our son. He makes hundreds of videos, a month, and for us to watch. And he is a lot more talented than I will ever be. And he's 6 years old. But this boy does stuff,
he makes these little superhero videos, and he makes like these Mission Impossible style videos.
Oh gosh.
And I think that it's easy for us to forget that autism isn't just these adorable, really talented kids.
Right. A lot of people think that, they have like, savant skills, music. They can hear it once and they can, replay, everything by that artist by just hearing, one note.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or the mathematics, or or they point at Rain Man, 361, toothpicks on the floor.
Every autistic person is different and unique.
Yes. Every one of them has a different superpower. And just like the rest of the people out here in the world, do you have a skill that nobody, that the person next to you or nobody else has? Maybe you don't even know what that skill is. Maybe you don't even know what your own superpower is. But, and then that's the journey of life in itself, is trying to find out what you're good at and what you enjoy. Because, if I tried to rely on, what I do for a living to pay the bills, we would all starve to death a long time ago.
No, baby, ramen is delicious.
That's all we would have eaten for the longest time. I mean, but as my point is though,
Yeah.
I mean, just because you have a skill or a superpower or something like that you really enjoy, doesn't mean, necessarily mean that you're going to become a rock star with it and you're going to be rolling in the money to buy a brand new Ferrari or Lamborghini.
And
That
honestly,
is those people who you see online with, and they're touted everywhere, YouTube superstars. 0.001% of all those who have ever been on YouTube will ever see a success level to that level and have that kind of income.
we all can't be PewDiePie.
Well, I mean, we all could, but we don't have the skill set, the superpowers that he does.
And one thing that I picked up from a gentleman that I follow, The Click, is that sometimes
I've heard of The Click.
you have heard of The Click, yeah.
I have heard of The Click.
Give
us a couple 100,000 subscribers, please.
Taking
We mentioned his name.
When your hobby becomes your job, it's no longer your hobby. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy it, but the enjoyment is now different. So, if you're not making billions doing the thing that you love, maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. It allows you the creative freedom to continue to do what you love the way you love to do it and not being beholden to an audience.
I know we're way off the topic of the recap here, but I wanted to, kind of fire off a little bit of my motivation in what I do for my YouTube main channel, and 411 now, in case you don't know. But anyway,
I'm just doing that.
Before I ever started off, and doing this YouTube thing, I used to own a bookstore. And the one thing that I loved about that bookstore was it could be an absolute failure, but I always had books to read. I mean, talk about when you're bookworms like us, that is just like, hey, what are you doing? Well, you didn't make any sales this month. Looks like we're going to starve. But man, we have got some books to read. And same thing. Now I carry that entire ideology over to what I do for YouTube. If I may not be successful this month, we might be starving, but I can always find something else to that of interest that it's in that area that I can follow and follow along with. Kind of like our son, he always has that fallback. School may not be going the way he wants it. Maybe he's not making the friends that he would want, or he's not getting the new Nerf gun or whatever a 6-year-old's like moment is. All right, for him, he always has videos and music to fall back on, and that brings him so much joy because on top of it all, it's a way for him to communicate with the world. Because he can't verbalize and express his emotions, he can share them through video with each and every one of us, and it's a way for, and that's such a great thing. And that, I love how he spells things out to us now. It's like he's always been a terrific speller, and reader, and it's just like, but that ability and that that desire to want to read, that comes from both of us. We're avid readers. And we're always reading, and he sees that and he's picked that up along with it. So it's not like, we said here, you have to read a book now, read a book. We've always encouraged reading, with both of our children. So, but I know we're way off topic on recap, but anyway, so, with that said in mind, what else in 2022 do you think would be an area, that you would like to see growth in the coming year? Do you want to get healthier? Do you want to exercise more? No? Okay. Well, neither do I. So we'll skip that. We'll move on to the next.
Perfectly happy with the swamp witch aesthetic that I've been cultivating, looking like a little doughboy swamp witch. So
it's sexy to me.
But want to get into my cauldron?
I do. Oh boy, we can't go down that road. We have to keep this PG.
So anyways, bye guys. I'll see you all later.
All right, so
Hey, so we are going to be signing off soon, but I do want to let everybody know Mothman believes in you.
Mothman. Could you explain to people what the Mothman is now that you've pointed out the shirt?
Mothman is like the second most popular cryptid in the United States. The
What?
Herald of Doom, Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia Mothman. And do people gather for this Mothman at
There's
a festival?
a Mothman festival.
There's a Mothman festival. Huh. You have to remember, as you're talking to people when we're doing these videos, you have to explain to, as if no one knows what you're talking about. And not everybody is in America. They're not in West Virginia. Or maybe they've heard of Mothman before. Mm-hmm.
You all have heard of Mothman?
No, I never heard of it until you guys, I got the t-shirt and you're like, here, Mothman. All right.
Let my husband down.
Don't. Come on, start throwing your money at the camera. Mothman!
All right, I think that's a really good place to sign off.
I think we should before YouTube starts sending us cease and desist letters.
I like that's how we did it though, like making it rain. Okay, I hope everybody has a really good new year, and I look forward to seeing you guys in 2023.
Bye.
You stay safe out there.
I was about to do the finger gun to you. Because you're bringing finger guns back and you're stealing my line. What's up with that?